Hebden Bridge Station is located on the Calder Valley line from Manchester Victoria to Leeds, built by the appropriately named Manchester and Leeds Railway, which became the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway. The line was opened throughout in 1841. Just 4 years later, A.F. Tate produced these fine lithographs of the line, which can be seen on display at the station, including this view of Hebden Bridge Station itself. By 1910, the industrial setting of the station can be seen. Vast quantities of steam coal from the Yorkshire coalfield were transported through Hebden Bridge Station, then over the Pennines. And local businesses could receive and dispatch goods through the warehouse. Sunday excursions were popular from Hebden Bridge to the seaside, including the illuminations at Blackpool. By the 1980s, regular freight traffic was still to be seen, but the West Yorkshire Passenger Transport Authority had transformed passenger traffic, which far exceeded the number of freight trains. And remarkably, the station still retained its original, well-maintained Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway signage and platform furniture. So it was that the Friends of Hebden Bridge Station was formed in September 2007 to help keep the station environs tidy, maintain the gardens, promote travel from the station, and provide a library for rail users in one of the waiting rooms. Subsequently, they have arranged permanent photographic displays in waiting rooms on both sides of the line, portraying the history of the railway along the Calder Valley. Prominent as part of the station's scene since 1891 has been the signal box, which became a listed structure in 2013. As can be seen from these diagrams, the layout controlled has changed significantly over the years. This first diagram shows the layout in the 1950s. By 1966, many of the connections had been removed, although there were still additional loop lines towards Mythenroyd, the next station towards Halifax. This is the diagram at closure, showing colour light signalling to and from Todmorden, interfacing with Preston's signal box. In 2013, Network Rail announced that they proposed to concentrate all railway signalling operations in a small number of regional operations centres. So the Friends of the National Railway Museum initiated a project to record the people, places and technology that have made our railways safe and efficient by capturing on film key examples of British signal boxes and people. That project was named the Film Archive of Railway Signalling and People, or FARSAP for short. Fortunately, as part of that project, they visited Hebden Bridge Signal Box, because in 2017 a plan was made public to close all of the remaining signal boxes in Calderdale. We're now able to include their film here. Hebden Bridge Station is a real period piece, having retained its Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway station signage and station furniture. The Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway signal box, together with the 38-lever L&Y Horwich frame, both date from 1891. A Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway block instrument and bell are still used for signalling trains by absolute block to and from Milner Royd Signal Box. However, track circuit block with screen describer applies to and from Preston Power Box, which controls the line beyond Hebden Bridge towards Todmorden, which is the Yorkshire-Lancashire county boundary, and also serves as a regional boundary between the Eastern and LM regions. On the night of Friday 19th October 2018, the signal box was due to close for the last time, and the Friends of Hebden Bridge Station, accompanied by Derek King, Network Rail Local Operations Manager, and Paul Kenny, the last signalman on duty, were able to witness the demise of that important building. Here are a number of their photographs which illustrate their visit and some of the equipment in the signal box. On Friday 19th October 2018, the signal box remains open for the last shift. Signalman Paul Kenny stands at the top of the steps. Inside the signal box, Paul is seen with Derek King, who was supervising the group's visit. Photographer Craig Shaw, seen here with Paul, was also allowed to help record closure of the box. And these are some of his photographs of the equipment. Firstly, the full extent of the lever frame. As mentioned in the Farsat film, it's remarkable that this frame was built in 1891 by the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway at its works in Horwich, yet it remained in use until 2018. Lever number 16, although not in use by 2018, still retained its original cast lever plate, whereas others had been fitted with more recent traffolite plates. Mounted on the block shelf is the train describer to Preston Signal Box, with the block bell for emergency use to the left. Another piece of Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway equipment was the block instrument for signalling to and from Milner Royd Junction, the next signal box to the east. This is a view of the lever frame in the ground floor locking room. Back on the operating floor, Paul Kenny demonstrates the megaphone, which could be used to call staff out on the line or on the station platform. The visitors were even able to record signalman Paul Kenny signalling the last train controlled from the signal box. Paul checks the trust screen, which shows trains approaching. As the train enters the platform, he sends train out of section for the last train through from Milner Royd and gets line clear for the last train towards Halifax. Then clears the signals for the last time. On the diagram, the track circuit lights show the train progresses towards Halifax.
Right, I'll Okay, no problem. All right then, John. See you later. Thanks for everything. Cheers, bye. That's it, we're officially closed.
A final entry is made in the train register. Control handed over to York Rock at 23:59 and closed to Preston just after midnight at 00:13 hours. Signalman Paul Kenny had completed 23 years as a signalman at Hebden Bridge and was thanked for his service by Derek King. The levers all stand normal in the frame, never to be used again. Paul locked the door and departed for the very last time to start his well-earned retirement. After everyone else had gone home, the box stood deserted and the signal engineers made a start on transferring control to York Rock. However, that is not the end of the story for the signal box, because the Friends of Hebden Bridge Station are working with the Calder Valley Community Land Trust as lead partner in preserving the signal box. Their aim is to reach agreement with Network Rail to take over care and maintenance of the building and to investigate ways in which it might be possible to make the signal box available for access by the public. In the meantime, Network Rail have installed suitable fencing around the site, and the signal seen at the end of the platform is now worked from York Rail Operations Centre.